Hi everybody, this video is going to walk you guys through how to complete our Tanks Library worksheet. So by now you should have downloaded the file in Blackboard and it should look something like what is on my screen. What I gave you is I did give you a vector drawing of a tank top already, and I gave you a JPEG of the croquis. So your assignment is to turn this JPEG into a vector croquis, and you're going to be doing that with our friend the pen tool. But to get you warmed up, I'm going to start out by just putting the tank top on the croquis, and I'm going to copy and paste it and create a scoop neck, the A-line tank, and the fitted tank. I think it's easier to start by just manipulating this tank top to those three other styles. You will also be required, after you redesign those three styles, then you will also create a vector croquis, and you also need to create a title and header that just reads Tanks Library. So I do want to get you in the habit of having nice headers. Presentation is extremely important in the fashion world. So, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to zoom in here. So the first thing is pretty easy. It's just the tank top I gave you, and I'm just putting it on the croquis more for scale. I'm not going to really worry about whether the back piece, is in the back layer or not. That's okay. It's not really important for today. So let's see here. Zoom back. If you notice, this tank top is pretty low cut. So we're going to change it to be a scoop neck, but we're going to leave the original as is. Okay. Let me go back and get that guy. Okay. So I can copy by hitting Command-C, Command-V, and it pastes in the middle of my screen. Or I can paste on top, and then I can move it over. Now if you notice when I moved it over, I moved it a little bit higher, and you might actually want to move it at the exact same level. So if you do that, when you move it, you want to, after you start moving it, hit the shift button. Notice what the shift button does. Please play with that. The shift button is not letting me move it up or down, so that way it stays perfectly aligned. Let go of your mouse first, then let go of your shift button. If you let go of your shift button first, it still might get crooked. So that's an option to paste. Again, I did Command-C, Command-F, and then I clicked and dragged with the mouse and I held Shift. Another way to copy and paste, which is very, 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 very handy in fashion illustration, is select your image, hover over it with your mouse, hit your Option key. Do you notice your mouse changing? Is it a black arrow with a white arrow? That means if you now click and drag, it's copying it. You just kind of pull it out. And after you click and drag, hit Shift, so it will stay aligned. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and play around with that. It might feel a little awkward at first, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, and it's a very useful tool. All right, we are going to change this V-neck to be a scoop neck. Do you know what a scoop neck is? If you're not sure, what I always tell students is when in doubt, Google. Let's try this. So let's do scoop neck. It's a neckline shape. Pull up some images. There we are. Do you see some scoops? This man is wearing a scoop neck. These women are. This is actually a cowl neck. Wouldn't really consider that scoop neck, so you can't always rely on Google. But you see for the most part the different shapes. Some are more like a U shape, some are rounder, some are wider at the neckline. Some might be a little bit closer at the neckline. End of the day, it's the designer and pattern maker who decides on the end shape of the scoop. But you'll notice a scoop is very different than the V-neck that we have. So, what's nice, we just copy and pasted this tank. We don't have to draw it from scratch. So now we're going to use our direct selection tool to change the shape. And I would really like for you to go ahead and play around with that. See if you guys can figure out how to do it. Now again, we change the shape. We don't want to move the segment line. That's not a good way to control it. you'll want to move this. Now this again, if I remove this back, I'm going to select this back. I'm going to hit Command X real quick. This is a really low scoop. You can actually see her bust line, so that's not very attractive. So I do recommend raising the bust line. How can we raise it? What do you think? By moving our anchor point up. So click and drag and move that up. And then we can replay with our handlebars that way. Maybe you want to bring the neckline out. Maybe it's too close to her neck. You're welcome to do that as well. So see, so really all we're doing in this assignment is we are moving our anchor points of a CAD that's already drawn, and we're moving our handles of the handlebars to reshape our curve. And then we have our stitch line here, so we can remove that as well. And this is our front seam. It needs to be sewn to the back, so we need to also move the back if we move the front. Look how annoying. There's actually 2 anchor points there. That's kind of annoying in fashion illustration. I'm going to get rid of it. We don't really need double the anchor points. It's silly. That's too much work. Okay. So I'm just going to give you time, but you need to redesign it so at the end of the day it is a scoop neck. There is a picture of what it should look like on Blackboard as well, what all the necklines look like. Okay, so our next one is to do a CAD of an A-line tank. And I didn't specify if it should be scoop neck or V-neck, so you can copy and paste either your V-neck one or your scoop neck, whichever one you want. But right now, this isn't really A-line, it's very draped. So we need to get rid of our draping. See, it's actually more of a handkerchief hemline here. So we need to get rid of that. Should we draw it from scratch? Nah. You can use your direct selection tool to get rid of it. Or maybe in this case, you can move each one. You can get your pen tool and get rid of your anchor points if you want to get rid of that shape. Maybe you just delete them all actually by using your lasso tool and just selecting these anchor points. But then I also selected these JPEGs, so I don't want to do that. So if I hold down Shift and click my JPEGs, then they will be deselected and it'll just be my blue anchor points. So all the anchor points that are white should stay. All the ones that are blue should disappear. So I'm going to hit delete. Okay, so we have kind of a mess going on. So we can get our pen tool and find that open path. See how it's open here? Oh, there's a slash line. Slash line's on our pen tool. Click, put another anchor point around here, and click to close it. Now we're getting somewhere. This is sort of an A-line tank. Maybe it's too flared out. Maybe we bring it in a little bit. We have so many anchor points. Do we really need all these? Maybe we just have one to kind of pull it in at the waist. I don't know if we need all these anchor points. Kind of too much work in my opinion. So let's get rid of some of them. Okay. And basically make it A-line, and then you'll also have to do the same for the back. Probably get rid of that drape line. It's going to be a little bit more tight-fitting, not as loose and flowy. And we need to add our stitch line here. So the stitch was drawn with our pen tool. It's just anchor points. Let's look at our stroke. Window, open up our stroke. There it is. It's not quite 1 point, it's less, it's just under 5, but it has a dashed line. So we can copy that number, or if we click it, then use our pen tool, it will just copy the settings. Sometimes that's easy too, so you can click and click. There we go. If you notice though, the shape of this line is a little bit different. So another trick is once you really like your shape of your hem, maybe you gave it just a little bit of curve, you can copy that segment with your white arrow. Just click that anchor point and it's going to copy the segment on the left and the segment on the right, but it's not going to copy any of the white anchor points. You can hit Command C, Command F, then hit the up arrow button. You copied it. Now you also copied this orange fill. Usually on our stitch lines, we like clear fill because if I change her tank top to be red instead of orange, you have that weird orange fill. So it's best to have a no fill. And then, so what's nice about this is that our shape is really mimicking our hem. Might want to bring our anchor points in just a hair. And I'll show you some tricks later about how to even make this more perfect, but for today this will work. Now we could type in whatever that dash line and gap line was. I feel like it was like a 0.7. It was a hard number to remember. So something even quicker is to use our eyedropper tool. We haven't used this yet. Keyboard shortcut, the letter I for like eyedropper, eyeball, I, and have our hem selected and then go click something and it'll copy the weight and color of that line. So that's a pretty handy trick also. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys play with that, finish the back, and after doing all this work, it's probably a good idea to copy your last one, and we're going to do a fitted tank. So now it's really important that we do have our anchor points here, and we get to play with our handlebars. So I'm going to convert this guy so his handle comes out. And maybe I want a handle to come out this bottom one for her hip. So there's like a little hip arc and then a waist arc. Maybe you want some at the bust to come out too. So maybe I actually am going to have to pull out another handlebar here. Uh-oh. Let's see here. Oops. I think I'll just add a little anchor point up on top of it and then go ahead and pull that guy out. There we are. So then you can see how it's fitted over her bust line as well. So you kind of get the curves that you are looking for. You have to do it on both sides, do it to the back as well. So those are our 4 changes that you will need to do. Again, you need to create a header. Do some research on Google. What do headers look like? I mean, I usually just pull like some kind of bar. You could do any kind of design you want. Maybe do an image or a logo, whatever. And then put, your name. So you get to play with our type tool a little bit. And put the project. You put the class this is for, the date, whatever you think looks nice. But think about your header, and I don't want to give you a template. I don't want everyone's header to look exactly the same. I think you should put a little bit of your personality into your header. Okay, and then the last fun thing we get to do is we want to make her a vector. And we're going to use this by using the pen tool so we get lots of practice. So I'm going to put an anchor point here, and I really have to start thinking about where to put anchor points. This is not going to be an easy assignment. It's going to take a while. You have to use the curves. But just give it your best shot. I know it's kind of intermediate for week 2, but I'd like for us to work on this and see how it goes. Save it for last. I'd like you to work on this part first and see how far you get. And then go ahead and try to trace your croquis so that you have a vector one. You could change her if you wanted. All right, so that's our assignment, and that's what we're going to work on today in class. So let's go ahead and get started. Thanks.